What's up, everybody? I'm out here in the nice mid-September weather, and I'll just say real quick, this time of year is easily my favorite time of year. Fall, really. Just the I don't know what it is. Different people like different seasons. Some people like the spring, the sprouting of the plants and the flowers, and the slowly increasing warm weather and the melting of all the snow from the winter. I mean, depending on where you live, of course. Other people like the peak of the summer where it's hot and they can go swimming and everything's lush and grown. Some people like winter, the snow, and maybe for different sport reasons and stuff like that. But I like the fall, man. I don't know what it is. I can feel it. I feel that energy. It's just a type of energy, and there's so much associated with it that I can't even put a name to, of like just memories and like feelings, and the feel to the air, the very feel to the air and the environment is just so, like, I love it. I love fall, and I've been feeling it slowly coming on. If you've seen my cannabis growing videos, my plants are all budding and getting and producing the buds on them. And yeah, I just love this time of year. So I just felt like making a video, and I think in this video I'm gonna be continuing the series that I started a while ago. Here, let me get that out of the way. I started this series a while ago and then hadn't made a video on it for a while, and it's the one where I am analyzing Ramana Maharshi's Who Am I book, which is a question and answer based commentary between, I forget who the questioner was, and Ramana Maharshi, who was giving the answers. And I have two previous videos in this series going over questions 1 and then questions 2 and 3. And I don't know how many questions we'll get through in this one, but I'm just going to be chilling out here, reading the questions, starting at question 4, and just sharing with you guys the thoughts that come to mind of what Ramana is sort of denoting to here. Question 4. When will the realization of the self be gained? And the answer is, when the world, which is what is seen, has been removed, there will be realization of the self, which is the seer. We live in a world of what is seen. We live in a world of appearances, things appearing, whether it's thoughts or emotions or anything in the different sense fields. We live in a world of appearances, or as Ramana says it here, what is seen. We live in the world of what is seen. And we act out of the world that is seen, and we act in it, We respond or react to that which is seen, that which is thought, that which is felt, that which is heard. Everything is appearing. It's in appearance. It is what is seen. And what Ramana is kind of pointing to here is it's almost like in his questions is always buried, or his answers rather, is the flavor, the taste of who are you? Who am I? Which makes sense because that was his method, was vichara atma. Who am I? What self-inquiry? What is the self? So what he's saying here in this that the self will be realized when we go from the world of what is seen. How does he word this again? When the world, which is what is seen, has been removed, there will be realization of the self, which is the seer. Even if it's for a moment, because there's temporary moments where we experience this, unless you're, an incredibly high saint being, and it just took one moment for you to be everly enlightened, aware of the one. Even if it's just for a moment, when the what is seen disappears, what's left? What remains when what is seen is no more? What is left is the seer. Not the seen, but the seer. Not the feelings, but the feeler. Not the sounds, but the one hearing. Not the senses, but the one sensing. When what is seen, when what is in appearance goes away, dissolves, ceases, and like I said, even for a moment, what is left is the seer. The seer, which is the experiencer of experience. The self. The self is what is there. The self is what is there behind all of the different appearances. And it's not just okay, I'm going to let go of appearances so I can see the self. Because whatever's appearing, you're seeing it, you're experiencing it. The you you're trying to get at, to realize, is busy trying to do something to realize itself. Trying to get rid of appearances, trying to let go of what is seen or what is in appearance, to try and follow the instructions that Ramana is giving us here, that you don't do anything. It's a state of awareness that comes to be, or is realized, to use the words that Ramana used here. You realize the self, the one that is, the existence that is. When just for a moment, you're not caught up in the appearances. And the seer, or the self, isn't busy being the self. is. It is. The self is. And this is where you get conflicting statements or paradoxical statements of all there is the self and there is no self. And really at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. It doesn't change anything, because the one is everything and the everything is one, and the one is none. The one is none. When there is one, there is none. There is no more. There is emptiness, or sunyata as it's called, the void, just emptiness. You can even think of it as like, this is far out. The universe, think of the physical universe. And even think of the Big Bang explosion, exploding. Where is that? Where is the universe? Where is the explosion taking place? In which medium is this Big Bang exploding? You know? It's nowhere. But it's also everywhere, everything. I heard a really interesting statement a while ago. Ram Dass was talking with his teacher, and Ram Dass is just this guy that I have listened to for a while. And the teacher asked Ram Dass, what is two? Two. What is two? And Ram Dass said, it's 1 + 1. And the teacher said, no. It's 1 cut in half. And what he's saying here is that when it's one, that's it. That's everything. That's the one. That's everything. There isn't a separate one to add to make two. To get two is to divide one into apparently two. But even if you take one and cut it in half, you have two things that you could label separately, but they are the same one. They are the same one. Like when you tie a knot in a thread that's comprised of 3 different colors, and you run the knot down the thread, and first it's a green knot, and then it's a blue knot, and then it's a purple knot, but all the while it was the same knot. It was the same knot, just moving down the line, It's the same knot, but one's green for a minute, and then it's purple, and then it's blue, Same knot running down, just changing, appearing to be different. And really this is when Ramana Maharshi talks about the what is seen, he's kind of talking about the one that is playing in all these many different forms and dancing in all these various ways. It's all the same knot. running through different colors of the string. Or, you know, my brother once was on mushrooms and he was just gazing at these Christmas lights. And you know what Christmas lights are. They all got these they're all different colors, right? But he said to me, you know, we're kind of like Christmas lights. And I was like, what do you mean? And he says, all these lights look like they're different colors, but it's the same pure white light inside that's shining through these different hued covers. The plastic covers of green and blue and red and purple. It's the plastic on the outside that we wear around our pure white light that shines out, that makes us look green, blue, purple, red. And we appear in all these different flashy ways, you know? It's getting cloudy, damn. We appear in all these different ways, but we're all the same light, pouring. The many different dances of form, the many different dances of different appearances. And thoughts sure play a role here of that's that. You know, you look at the Christmas lights, that one's green, that one's blue, that one's purple, but you don't realize they're all connected through the one electrical current that's creating that light. And just to go off the same metaphor I'm talking here, when you look at like a whirlpool in water, you look at it as this objective, that's a whirlpool. But as Alan Watts says, it'd be more accurate to call it a whirlpooling, ing at the end, a whirlpooling. Because although you see a thing that you say is a whirlpool, it's a constant refreshing of different water. It's never the same whirlpool. It's never that's a whirlpool. It's this pattern that's being constantly refreshed and switched out with new rushing water that's coming and going. Or a river, the river going by, you know? It's never the same river. I'm pretty sure there's a Greek quote, an ancient Greek quote that says, a man never visits the same river, for when he returns, it is not the same river and he is not the same man. And this is it. This is what they're talking about, is the rush, the current. We're just doing this pattern. This thing right here is this patterning, this dance that's changing. This thing is gonna get old. This thing is gonna die, whatever that means. It's gonna fucking, it grows and it dies. And the water, you go and visit the river, a spot you always like to go, and you say, there's the river. But it's different. It's constantly flowing, and there's different things in it, and different levels of current and intensity to it, like the waves and the rushing and all that stuff, and it's constantly a different flowing. But the hidden thing in there, the river, the riverness, the spirit of what it is you're seeing, that is the thing. That is it. You know? This pattern here is what we say is me. The I doesn't change. Appearances change. Thoughts change. Forms change. The I doesn't change. You are. You are. You are. I am. I am. I am. Whether you say that when you're 5 years old or when you say it 70 years from that point, you are. The you that is. What's changing? What's changing? Beliefs, perspectives, motivations and desires, the physical appearance, that the vessel that holds, that appears to hold the I. That's what's all changing. You don't change. But the dance you're doing is constantly in this different pattern, this different arrangement of energy. I'm just spewing here, guys. I hope there's at least a little bit of a thread of coherency that you can pull from this. As I talk more and more about this stuff, it feels easier to, it just feels second, like my second nature, you know? Like, it feels so obvious, like, oh, right. I guess it's like learning anything or realizing anything or practicing anything. Question 5. Will there be realization of the self even while the world is there, taken as real? There will not be. It's plain and simple. As long as you think this and that is real, and you also have to think of, what do you mean by real? Do we mean real as in what matters, what we think is actually important at the end of the day? Do we think of real as in that thing itself has a fundamental existence of its own? Like this grass and those clouds are real. This is all real. What does that leave you with? You engage in what you think is real. And as long as you take all of this as serious and dire and real, you're not going to find the infinite, unreal, unimaginable space within yourself. It's so hard to grok this. What is it to be real? We don't even know what existence is. We don't even know what this is. We read books, we listen to teachers, we study history, we travel around and do all these crazy things. We don't even know what this is, but it's real. We say this is real. This is stable, real, facts, permanent. It's here, it's real. When you think that, you can't find the space, the dream. You can't find the nature of self. Because the nature of this is, it is a dream. It's unreal. If anything, it's neither real nor unreal. Because for there to be something unreal, that implies that there's something real. But what do we mean when we say real and unreal? When we say reality, what is that? Which one are you talking about? We could probably use like dreaming as an example, where you go to sleep, you're dreaming, you take it as this, oh, it's real. But then you wake up and you go, oh, that was quote unquote just a dream. But before the state shift, before the consciousness shift, that was real to you. That was real. And I guess you could say, in essence, like a metaphoric way of saying this is, as long as you think your dreams are real, you're not going to go lucid. You're not going to realize, wow, this is a dream. I'm dreaming. This isn't even real. I'm making this up. And life, this thing that's we think is really big, and we treat it like it's long and forever, and we can just do as we please to ourselves and others and this, but is actually going to completely just wash at some unexpected point. There isn't often a state shift, a grounds that allows us to witness this is just like that. This is a dream. We wake out of this. We become lucid to the dream we're in right now as well. And Ramana Maharshi talks a lot about the different states of sleeping, of who is it that knows there wasn't any dreams? Who is it that knows nothing happened last night? Who is it that knows I had dreams? We can simply say, oh, it's memory, and you wake up and you don't have any memories. But the reason you don't have any memories of dreams is because you were there for it, recognizing nothing's happening. You don't make a memory of something that you weren't there for, you know? Why? So the guy asks, will there be realization of the self even while the world is there, taken as real? Ramana says, there will not be. And the guy asks, why? And Ramana says, the seer and the object seen are like the rope and the snake. Just as the knowledge of the rope, which is the substratum, will not arise unless the false knowledge of the illusory serpent goes, so the realization of the self, which is the substratum, will not be gained unless the belief that the world is real is removed. He's using the rope and snake story here, of seeing a rope, thinking it's a snake, and getting scared and frightened, or even just, oh, geez, and walking away. You never witnessed the reality of the rope because you took it as a snake. That's what you saw, that's what you experienced, that's what you thought. So that rope is a snake, but that is an overlaid illusion. It's literally not a snake. You thought it was a snake. the world, you take all this world of appearance and form as the snake. This is a rope that we're disguising as a snake. We take it as a snake. And because of that, we don't see the hidden thing that it actually is. You know? And that's why we call it an illusion. Is because we take it as this thing that it appears to be, but in truth is not. And that's complicated when you're not talking about the rope and the snake story, but you're talking about the world. Because where do you start with this illusion? Where do you start to recognize the difference between the illusory forms that you perceive the world to be and what the world actually is and what you actually are? Where do you begin to sense these things? Because if you never take a double look, going along the lines of that rope and snake story, if you never take a double look at the rope, you live the rest of your life thinking you saw a snake that time. That was a snake. You have no knowledge of the realness that was the rope. You only know now in your memory the illusion of the snake that you created. You never even witnessed the reality of what was going on. And I say where to start, and I think where to start in recognizing the illusion that we are playing in is to quiet down our beings. Regularly quiet ourselves down to be able to see how we're creating what we think reality is. We're turning the rope of reality into an illusory snake that we take. That's reality, because we're missing the very quick moment in which we are turning the rope into the snake. And when you quiet your being down, you begin to witness your mind laying onto the raw, open reality what it thinks it is, and then taking it as real. And it's a very delicate and very subtle process. It's immediate, you know? How quickly we label, how quickly someone talks to us and we think that's them talking to me and that's what they just said. But we're creating, we don't recognize that we're creating the whole thing, the whole dance. We're making it up. And that doesn't mean in a conversation with someone you go, I'm making this up right now, you know. I'm making you up. No, that's not what it means. It starts with just taking a moment to breathe and quiet down. And you will start to see how you are making things up and fooling yourself in the same moment. As big and as important and as real as it seems, you're giving it life. You're making it up. You're saying, you're claiming it to be. And then we forget that part. It's like taking an atom, blowing it up or cutting it up, and saying it's made of all these different parts. But we forgot that we cut it up. That's still just the atom, just tinier, tinier, tinier. It's still just the atom. It's still the atom. It's still the one thing. But we forget what we're doing to it. We forget, we often lose sight of the influence and effect that we're putting onto the universe. And we get lost in a whirlwind of our interpretation. And that's why we feel so exhausted and so sad and worked up, is because we're completely filled to the brim. We're overflowing with an illusory reality that we're making up. Life, death, age, goals, accomplishments, failures, mistakes, this, that, friends, relationships, experiences, learning, forgetting, messing up, everything. We're completely occupied. And there is no... We lose sight of the rope that we are. And we take it all as a snake. It's all a snake. And there's not the slightest space to recognize what we're doing. That we're doing that. There's not the slightest space to recognize that we're creating this. That's not actually what it is. We're making it up. You just thought it looked like that. We just thought this is life and this and that and good and bad and duality, the whole works of duality. But we forgot, we never recognized that we made it up. Question 7. When will the world which is the object seen be removed? Ramana says, when the mind, which is the cause of all cognition and of all actions, becomes quiescent, the world will disappear. Now I just need to remember what quiescent means. Does that mean calm and quiet, or does that mean open and all-inclusive and all-knowing? Quiescent. I'm going to go with my gut here and say it means quiet. When it ceases, when it stops. And if that's the case, that's just what I was talking about a moment ago. Is where do we begin in this practice? And we begin by quieting down, by calming down, centering, aligning, balancing, focusing, pausing, giving ourselves a moment to breathe, giving ourselves space, allowing, accepting, being, recognizing I am. It all starts in quieting down. Because like I was just saying, we are very occupied. We are very busy. The mind is very busy. Like he says here, the mind, which is the cause of all cognition and of all actions. Cognition is this very thing I'm doing right now of thinking and naming and analyzing and remembering, and out of that comes every little action we partake in. And the practice begins in your actions beginning to align with resting in the self, remembering the depths, becoming quiet, becoming calm in the midst of chaos, in the midst of sadness or anger or frustration or even happiness, becoming that's when the world, the object, disappears. And when the object disappears, you realize it's the very effect of the world disappearing. You realize what you actually are, what actually is. And like I was saying a while ago, this isn't a thought, this isn't an idea, this isn't something you go and do. It's a state of being that rushes in. It's just a matter of becoming familiar with and learning the steps that need to be taken to get into those spaces. Mainly meditation. Where do we begin? We quiet the mind. We quiet the mind. We meditate. We calm down. And naturally you will realize you. You will realize you naturally. Question 8. What is the nature of the mind? What is called mind is a wondrous power residing in the self. It causes all thoughts to arise. Apart from thoughts, there is no such thing as mind. Therefore, thought is the nature of mind. Apart from thoughts, there is no independent entity called the world. In deep sleep, there are no thoughts. See, there he goes talking about sleep. In deep sleep, there are no thoughts, and there is no world. In the states of waking and dream, there are thoughts, and there is a world also. Just as the spider emits the thread out of itself and again withdraws it into itself, likewise the mind projects the world out of itself and again resolves it into itself. When the mind comes out of the self, the world appears. Therefore, when the world appears, the self does not appear. And when the self appears, the world does not appear. When one persistently inquires into the nature of the mind will end leaving the self as the residue. What is referred to as the self is the Atman. The mind always exists only in dependence on something gross. It cannot stay alone. It is the mind that is called the subtle body or the soul. What he's been talking about of when you see the world as real, the self is not there. And also, in other words, when the world is there, the self is not there. When thoughts are there, the world is not there. Well, when thoughts are there, the self is not there. When thoughts are there, the world is what's there. And if you've ever had meditative states, deep meditative states, where did the world go? Where did it all go? Where did all your problems go? Where did who you think you are go? Where did all the people that are here go? Where did all this go? It was the web of mind that came back into the spider of the self. Hope you like the little metaphors here. They're helpful. They're very helpful. In states of meditative absorption, the world is no longer there. It's just you. It's just you. I. What is. My brother, just the other day, had an experience smoking changa, which is a psychedelic. It's a mixture of herbs, and the active ingredient is DMT. And he smoked it, and he just sat there, eyes closed. And when he came back, I said, hey man, because I'm over here just in the world, the web of the spider strewn out everywhere. And I was like, hey, what happened? How was it? And he says, it was I amness. And I'm like, fuck yeah, bro. Like, that's what's up. That's what's up. He experienced the DMT, interestingly enough, because sometimes, as you know, it's just this incredibly active realm. This experience, he said there was this pink energy swirling through him that pulled him out of this world into his self, into his being, his I amness. And that's all there was just the self, the I amness, the existence, the being. And as the chemical wore off, he said he remembers the world materializing, and in the same moment his body materializing back into this space, and he felt himself being pulled back into this experience that we call life. Very interesting experience. And it sounds like a psychedelically induced meditative absorption into no name, no space, no words. You are it right now. All there is you. I. For practitioners like us, unless you're a saint watching my video right now, which thank you so much for taking time to watch my video. We're practitioners. Practitioners like us, we can't spend our every day, every minute high on psychedelics. We don't walk around in states of samadhi, but we have psychedelic experiences. We have moments of meditation where we realize all this stuff. We experience this stuff. If you're watching this video and you're this far in, you must have some sort of, you know what I'm talking about. It's happened to you. You've seen it, you've felt it, you've been there, you're learning more about it. Me sharing this video is the desire to talk about the space where it's all one. It's just the I am. And as practitioners, that's all we can do, is continue our practice and continue to talk and share and learn and practice. Do what we do to experience the space that they're all talking about, that all these psychedelics allow us to see. Tuning into nature, traveling, or talking to some really far out, wacky, interesting guy, or reading, or watching videos, or sitting down, remembering that thing that's coming in and out of your body hundreds, thousands of times a day, which we call the breath, recognizing that thing. All these different methods to tune into this moment. And when we tune into this moment, as Ramana says, the world falls away. When the mind becomes quiescent, becomes quiet, calms down, the world and all your problems and ambitions and goals and mistakes and friends and legacy and storyline and dialogue and emotion, all of it goes. And what's left is the seer, the one who's busy seeing it all, when what is seen is so everly present, always, always, always. The second you wake up in the morning, it's just game on, let's do it again. But when we take these moments, quiet down, tune in or tune out or tune up or become or align or recognize or remember or balance, or just, to put it frank, just to shut up. Just shut up for a little while. The web of the mind resolves back into the self spider, the spider of the self, into being. And there we are. And we never went anywhere. Because the second you're thinking, oh, it's happening, there it is, the web is already coming back out. Just even if it's just a little bit, it's already reanimating what is already here. And to live your whole life traveling out across the massive web of the mind, creating this world, it's exhausting, and it's sad, and it's hard. It's also fun. It's exciting. But there's a lack of rejuvenation. There's a lack of soul food. You aren't touched. It's hard to become the galaxies and become the flowers when you spend your life out across the web, creating more webs, creating more karma, creating more this and that for yourself and others. So that's Ramana Maharshi. We went from question 4 to question 8. And I hope you guys enjoyed. Since I last did the video reading this book, I've thought occasionally, like, when am I gonna make another video in this series? I always do that. I start up a series and then I'm just like I'll get to it. But hey, that's the truth. I'll get to it, or maybe I won't. You never know. You never know. Which kind of reminds me of a story I want to share with you guys real quick. A little ending story, a little bedtime story. There was a farmer who owned a farm, and he had all the animals and stuff. And one day, one of his horses broke the stable and ran off into the woods and wasn't able to be found. And the neighbor said to the farmer, "Oh my gosh, how unfortunate. That sucks. Your horse broke the stable and ran away." And the farmer says, "You never know." A few days later, the horse returns. And with it, it brought a wild stallion, a wild female horse with it out of the wilderness. And they got together, and the horse came back, and it brought back this wild horse with it as well. And the neighbor said, "Well, would you look at that? It came back, and it brought a free horse with it. Like, that's so awesome. That's so incredible. Who would have thought?" And the farmer says, "You never know." A couple days later, the farmer's son was practicing horseback riding and decided to try to ride this wild horse that had came into the farm. And the horse bucked him off, and it broke the farmer's son's leg. The neighbor says, "Oh my gosh. How unfortunate. That's so bad. I'm sorry." And the farmer says, "You never know." That day, people, like officials, I don't know what you call them, were riding around, stopping at people's houses, giving drafts to people that were 18 and older to be drafted into the war. And they stopped at the farmer's house, to draft the boy, but because the boy had broken his leg, wasn't drafted into war. And the neighbor says, "You are so blessed, you are so lucky." And the farmer says, "You never know." You really never know. We go around saying, "This is good, oh, that's bad, this is good, oh, that's gonna work out, this is what's up, this is this, and that's that." But we never know. We never know. We have a plan, we have an idea, we have a perception of what would be a merry time, what would be good, what would be work out and beneficial, but we do something thinking we're doing good, but you end up doing more harm, you know what I mean? Like, I tried to pull out a dragonfly out of the pool at my mom's house a few weeks ago because I thought it was dying, and I'm gonna be the savior that helps it. And when I pull it out, I accidentally rip his wing off. And it's like, he's out of the water, but I just ripped his wing off, and now I'm involved in this whole thing. Damn it, you know? So you never know what your effect is, and what the effect of what's happening is going to have on the grander scheme of how things are going. I've been shading out my eyes this whole time. Can you even see my eyes? That's good though, because it's kind of bright. The sun's bright. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching this video if you did. I'm sorry it's been about like a month since my last video, but I don't like to force videos. I feel like I've said this before, but I don't like to force videos. I don't like to feel synthetic. I don't like to feel routinely towards this. I love the openness of this. Also love equally your support and your feedback of allowing me to not have a scheduled routine of, this is when a video will be up, this is what it's going to be about, see you there, please like and subscribe, you know what I mean? Like, I like just being here with you guys. So if you watch this video, I'm sorry it's been as long as it has. I'll randomly feel these drives to want to make another video again, and like, this just feels so good to make these videos, and I remember that's why I made the account, you know? So I'll have another video coming up soon, whether it's a few days or a week or 2 weeks or a month. I don't know when it'll be, or even like what it'll be about. But I can say I feel like I want to have some psychedelic based content coming up here soon, because psychedelics, we could start a whole conversation about that. They are just, you can find, that's where I am. You can find me in there. If you don't sit and find me in meditation, you will find me in the psychedelics. That is why I'm so weird, why I'm so flamboyant and far out and into spirituality, and I give it all to the realm that the psychedelics brought me to. And they are just next level. It's I can't even describe it. If you know, you know. And if you don't know, learn, do a little bit of research. It's far out. I love you guys so much. I love this YouTube channel so much. I love the openness and being able to make videos about really just like anything that comes to my mind. So thank you guys so much for watching. And I will see you in the next video, whenever it may be. See you guys.